Welcome back to Anointed to Bling. It's your girl Rein once again here with another tutorial, this time to show you how I made this absolutely fabulous Gatsby themed inspired card box. Now mine does not say cards because I have another box that I'm going to do for wisdom, and I'm choosing to use photo frames to represent the cards and the notes of wisdom and date night ideas. But you can certainly put cards on it if you'd like to. If you want to know how I made it, stay tuned. We're going to start with our box. Now this is the base box. You obviously need these in different sizes. This is the largest box on the bottom. I'm sorry, I already started working with the other two boxes, so I didn't want them in this particular shot. Now as you'll notice here, I have decided where I want my slit to go, which is on the bottom box. Some people do this on the smaller sizes, such as in the middle or at the very top of the box. I wanted to keep it simple and easy, so I did mine at the bottom of the box so that I can just take the top half off and grab the cards and go. But by all means, it's up to you. Just remember, when you move your slit, you're going to have to cut the bottom of the boxes open. And so it's going to require measuring the circumference or the square, whatever the shape of your box is, moving about 1.5 inches inward, drawing that same circle or square again, and then cutting it so that you don't end up with boxes falling into boxes. So if you want to move this, it's a much harder process. There are other tutorials on it. I may come back and do one. I don't know. So anyway, I decided to go ahead and do my slit in the beginning. There are other tutorials that will show you how to do this after. I prefer to do it in the beginning just because it's easier for me. This is probably about 1 inch wide. You can do it a little smaller. You need to do it wide enough and open enough to fit a variety of sizes of cards, letters, gift cards. So this is probably about average. I've chosen my fabric for this bottom box. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my spray adhesive, which I have here. And I'm not going to do it on camera. I may come back and show you one of the other boxes in process. But what I'm going to do is spray the box. Oops. Then I'm going to take my fabric, attach it here, and then just slowly spray and roll it along until the entire box is covered. That's the easiest way. I'm doing this with the opening of the box this way, just because it's a little bit easier and neater, and it saves a little bit on fabric. You're still going to cut the rest of the fabric off either way, or you can pre-cut your fabric prior to, but I chose to do it this way. If your fabric is too thin, you can always fold it over to make it thicker. And just a word of advice, I prefer to use cotton type fabrics because they're thicker. Satins and silks tend to bunch, so once you get it laid out on the box and you start to decorate it, they tend to wrinkle. So you definitely want to choose something a little denser or thicker, just as a word of wisdom. But you certainly don't have to take that advice. It's just a thought. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to then go in and cut it neatly so that this slit, the inside of this slit, is well covered. Be right back. So I finally finished covering the bottom of my box. It came out looking really nice, as you can see. And just a word of caution, you know, when you're using the fabric, another good trick, make sure you iron it so that you knock out any wrinkles as you're using your adhesive, whether you use spray adhesive or whatever glue you like. Make sure that you're smoothing it out so that you get a good smooth finish around the perimeter of, or excuse me, around the entire box. And, you know, of course, keep your hands clean obviously if anything is lighter colored, it's going to stain, so you just want to be careful about that. So now we're ready to make the incision and create our nice little slit here, as you can see. And what you're going to do is you're going to use your X-Acto knife, and you're just going to lightly cut into the fabric. Now you're not going to go all the way to the edge here. You're just going to make a nice little incision in the middle, and then you can take your scissors. You can just start with a slit if you want, or if you have a steady hand, you can certainly do this all the way. But you're going to make an incision down the middle of the fabric, and then when you get up here in the corner, you're going to take your scissors or your knife and create like a V shape going to that incision that you just made. I'm going to do it and then show you how to fold it over to make it nice and neat. One little tip for your slit, again, just make it wide enough, long enough according to your preferences. If you make it too wide, they can see inside the box. It shouldn't be any bigger than enough to fit envelopes, cards, gift cards in it. But again, it is of course up to you. And as I said earlier, the placement is also up to you, whether you do it at the bottom, the middle, or the top. It was just easier for me to do it at the bottom. One last trick before I show you how to cut it. If you have a fabric that frays, you can use your spray adhesive to spray the top or to spray around the perimeter to keep that from happening. Or depending on the type of fabric, you can use a lighter to kind of lightly singe it, not burn it or set it on fire, but singe it. Or there is a spray usually at your fabric store or at Hobby Lobby around where the fabric is that you can spray to make it stiff so that you don't have the fringe here. I'm going to cut that off and clean this up after I cut my slit. So let's get cutting.
So pleased to greet a brand new day. Why, hello, mellow, won't you come and sing your song my way? Goodbye to heartache, these new hands wash my sorrow away. I've opened up my eyes, let out a smile today. I shine. I will not let it pass me by. Down by pride. For far too long I've been the victim, hard pressed to find the joy inside. If life is truly one big canvas, pass me the brush, I'll paint it white. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. That's how I'll live this life. I will not let it pass me by. Please don't pass me by. I'm flying so high.
So now that I've got this rolled out, normally I would do this the opposite way and I would have the bottom end facing this way and roll that along the end. But I found when I did it earlier, it wasted a lot of fabric, and I did a lot of tucking work in here that I don't want to do because this is going to have a permanent top on it. You're not going to see the inside anyway. So I decided to save the fabric. So just as a technique, now I am going to cut this, but just to show you what I'm going to do, now that I'm at the end, of course I'm going to cut this down, but I'm going to fold my edging after I cut it, and then I'm going to seal it like that to make a seam. And that's really important just for neatness. I did this on the bigger box, and you can match your pattern, you know, with your fabric to make sure it lines up nicely, but that's how I'm going to close that off. I'll be back. All right, here's box number 2. I won't go through all of this with every box, but I just wanted you to see the completed project. So there is my seam. I just find that folding it over makes it a little bit neat. Obviously my pattern isn't completely matched up here, but I'm okay with that. I just wanted to fold that over because you can see the edging when it's cut when you don't, and that just makes things a little more cleaner. Here's the bottom of the box. So I just laid this down with my hot glue, and again, this is going to be adhered to the bigger box, so no one's going to see the bottom of it. And you can see how nicely the edging just lays across the top, which is why you really need to take your time and do the rolling. So I just wanted to interject that, and I'll be right back. And here we are once again at the finished product. I'm loving it. I'm going to turn it a little bit to show you the back side. Absolutely fabulous. Back around to the front here. So as you can see, you can have a lot of fun with this. Be inspired. This is my theme. It doesn't have to be your theme, but I hope that you got enough out of the tutorial to be helpful. If you did, show us some love, follow, subscribe. Don't keep us a secret. Share us with a friend. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you think or what kind of tutorials you wanted to see from the fabulous Anointed to Bling DIY Gatsby Bride. And I'll be happy to try to accommodate if I can. Until next time, have a blessed day.